Hello everyone, I hope you guys are having a wonderful and blessed day. Now you probably are noticing something a little different about me. I finally have put on one of my wigs. I saw in the comments someone saying, let her put on a wig, and I'm like, yeah, I think it's time I can start wearing my wigs again. I did see a few comments where like, Ifunnanya in her previous videos is always doing baby girl. Now that she's ready to tell her testimony, she's tying a scarf. And the truth of the matter is, you're correct. When I was starting the process of filming, the Holy Spirit said, go in your truest form. And my truest form is tying a scarf and wearing a t-shirt. I don't think wearing makeup and wearing concealer simply because I've posted a few videos of me glammed up would have been the best. It would have taken away from the testimony and the message. And again, me tying a scarf and wearing a t-shirt is literally me 98% of the time. I've literally just drawn on a wig and that's it. But as promised, I'm here to give you guys my answers to your questions. I was literally blown away when I saw that there was over 3,000 comments in my previous video. And with that being said, I definitely need to go into parts because there's some questions where it's pretty much a yes or no, and there's some other questions where I would need to go a little bit more in depth. So with that said, it's time to answer your questions. I will be leaving the questions up top just so you know I wasn't planting my own questions to kind of create and continue on my own narrative. I hope to be as honest and as transparent as humanly possible, and I hope you guys can enjoy this segment, a new series of a Q&A, and we kind of just learn a little bit more about my journey, about what had happened behind the scenes, and really answering any questions that you guys may have. Thank you. The boyfriend who drove me and my dad to the airport is now my husband. I am a married woman. I am off the market. I mentioned to you guys the chains that were broken, and I believe one of those chains that broke was marriage or finding a husband. I always found myself to be a confident and beautiful woman, but when it came to finding a guy to date me, to take me seriously, it was almost like like I was raised in the bush. Every guy I met would break up with me. I remember dating one guy who liked me and all of a sudden stopped liking me. And so my husband is really, I believe, a symbol of the generational curse that had broken in my family, where now I could now meet a man and be married to him and, you know, continue on building a kingdom marriage. So I do not know where Francis is, but from what I've heard, he is still in Enugu. Really not true. Josephine did not sponsor my dad to America. My dad is the firstborn son. My dad worked a series of jobs, and he and his late sister were sponsored by a family friend to come to America. Josephine had no physical, financial help in all of that. I don't know why that lie came to be. I don't know why they're trying to paint her as Sister Mary, but one thing I will not stand for is to say that Josephine sponsored my dad. That is a complete and blatant lie. Being brought up here in America at a very young age, my mom and my dad would send me and my siblings back home, where we would spend months in the summertime chilling in Enugu. So because of that, it really instilled in us seeing Anambra, seeing Enugu, seeing Yoruba as our home, as our village. So even after like 18 years old, 19 years old, I was still going back home. And so basically it made it very easy for me to know where my dad lived, what village, how to get there by road. And so it just, you know, with that, with what they instilled in us as little kids, it really helped in hindsight to make sure that I knew where my dad is, I knew where my family's house was, and that was how I was able to basically get my dad that day. So unfortunately, no, my dad does not really understand the role that his siblings played in all of this. One thing I will just take it up to is Stockholm syndrome. And then my dad did suffer a stroke, as I mentioned, and it was left untreated. So it definitely did a lot to his memory. So he can't tell you in grave detail what happened, or that this happened or this didn't happen. I think in his own way, he knows what happened and maybe couldn't really stomach the fact that he was living under these deplorable conditions and just chose to forget it. So in regards to my cousins on my dad's side, only one of my cousins has actually reached out to me even before this ordeal, because a lot of them were angry, I guess, based on the lies that were being spread through Gabriel and Christopher, that somehow I came in with thugs, guns blazing, and so everybody was angry with me for what I did to them, and then, you know, this narrative that I kidnapped my father. But one cousin actually did reach out to me, and he himself asked himself one question, and that question was, if Ifunnanya didn't rescue Peter from that house, would Peter be alive right now? And his answer was no. He didn't believe that had I done what I did, that my dad would be alive to see today. And so he called me and asked for forgiveness, and I forgave him. I forgave him. As for the other cousins of mine, I have not spoken to them. No one has expressed any remorse or any anger to me, but the fact that they've all kept silence is my answer to how they feel about the situation. No, I have not been contacted by any Nollywood producers. A few people have reached out to me, a few filmmakers wanting to do a documentary. I personally wouldn't want a documentary done. I would want a full, like, epic drama. But please, these Asaba YouTube producers, just, if you're going to take my story, just do it justice. And I don't want anyone with the BBL portraying me. I'll just put it out there. I don't have a BBL, so I don't want to be seeing Yash shaking on the screen. Let it be a very simple, simple young woman that really inspires what God has done in my life, and that is grace. Definitely, I will love to teach you guys how I personally heard the Holy Spirit. I will make a whole complete separate video from this, just because it's a lot and I don't want to just give a very quick summary of, oh yeah, you need to do this and you need to do that. But I will say this: when you want to listen to the Holy Spirit, you really need to surrender yourself. Whoever you think you are, whoever you tell yourself you are, surrender it all. And the moment you give true surrender, you will be able to allow the Holy Spirit to use you in ways that you never even knew were possible. I find it funny sometimes when the Holy Spirit is asking me to do even small little things, but eventually I see why the Holy Spirit guided me towards those small steps. The Holy Spirit could tell me, Ifunnanya, go and brush your teeth, your breath is smelling, you're a woman. And I'm not gonna lie, that has happened. So the Holy Spirit got your back. The Holy Spirit is your best friend, but you have to surrender to the Holy Spirit. You have to believe that whatever is being told to you is coming from God, is coming from the guidance of the Holy Spirit. I know that there's still so many questions I have yet to answer. I will be sure to answer as many of them as possible. I thank you guys so much for sitting down with me and listening to the answers to some of your questions. I will be sure to try and answer as many questions as I can, and I just hope that you guys have a wonderful and blessed day. All right, bye.